We're joined by Dr. Marty Makary. He is the commissioner of the Food and Drug Administration. Dr. Makary, we appreciate you, sir. We remember you were a truth teller in the dark days of COVID madness, and now you are at the FDA and part of the MAHA approach to America, Make America Healthy Again. I saw your op-ed in the Washington Post on getting drugs approved much more quickly and efficiently. That would be helpful. But let's just start with this. What is the top of your agenda for MAHA? How are we going to make America healthy again now that that is your portfolio?
Well, good to be with you guys. You know, we are changing the entire approach to healthcare in the United States under Secretary Kennedy. It's not just chemotherapy and insulin and Ozempic. We're now having research on root causes at the NIH. We're investing in the food side of the FDA. People forget that the F in FDA stands for food, not federal. And so we are focused on healthy food for kids. We've got tremendous traction with the petroleum-based food dye ban. We're going a step further, looking at all the chemicals in the food supply that are banned in other countries. We are focused on the drug side and device side, more cures for the American people. We'd love to see a cure for certain kinds of cancer, stage 4 cancer, drugs that melt away cancer. We want to see a cure for type 1 diabetes, for Alzheimer's. We want to see meaningful treatments for ALS. And we want to see a universal flu shot so we don't have to play a guessing game each year. And one of my personal missions is to make sure that our veterans have a rapid decision on treatments for PTSD.
I really appreciate you coming on with us and the fact, Dr. Makary, and I always want to go back and reemphasize this, that you were one of the truth tellers during COVID. And I'm curious now, as we are working through the MAHA movement, and you have RFK Jr., and you have you and Dr. Bhattacharya, and I'm sure there's many, many more people that we don't even know the names of. Do you feel in many ways like all of the slings and arrows that you took and that many of your colleagues took have been vindicated in what you said, and feel as if, hey, this is an opportunity to rectify a lot of the scientific wrongs on a big picture that came from somebody like Dr. Fauci lecturing everyone and saying, I am the science, don't challenge science? It has to feel in some way vindicating to be in the position that you are in now.
Well, I think this is a time for us to demonstrate humility, the same humility we called for. When you don't know something as a doctor, you just need to say we don't know, or we think this might be the case. The absolutism that we saw during COVID, which was not based on science, but it was under the guise of listen to the experts and don't question us, it did a lot of damage. I mean, ignoring natural immunity, putting masks on toddlers for 3 years, insisting schools stay shut for a year and a half. Somehow this became partisan, and it's really an ugly chapter. So we are trying to demonstrate transparency and humility throughout our health agencies and as role models. And I think, we're making a lot of progress in that way. We, for example, put out a strong warning on myocarditis with the COVID vaccines. We're not approving COVID vaccines for healthy children without a clinical trial first. We're getting back to gold standard science, and we're using common sense.
Dr. Makary, what are some of the ways that we can see improvements in the drug? This is what you wrote about in the Washington Post editorial, right? Getting faster approval. Because one thing I know right now from the people think pharma, and a lot of people on the right in particular get they bristle a little bit, but pharma does make things like statins, which save a lot of lives. Pharma has incredible drugs that are helping with with rare types of cancer. We want there to be breakthroughs. We want there to be cures. What are ways we can get to those cures faster? And is artificial intelligence something that you see helping just go through all the data and get to cures faster for the diseases that we want to see left in the past?
Absolutely. And look, as a doctor at Johns Hopkins for most of my career, I saw how drugs would cure people, and people got terrible diagnoses, and they would ask, is there anything promising out there? I think we have to ask a big question that really hasn't been asked before, and that is, why does it take over 10 years for a new drug to come to market? We have got to cut the red tape, end these unnecessary delays, all of the bureaucratic processes, and just get back to our job of making a prompt decision on safety and efficacy. And, if there's a drug where there's no hope or there's a small population of affected, I believe in both the spirit and the letter of right to try that the president has put out there.
How much of what you deal with is fixable from a cultural perspective? And let me build on that a little bit, make the question a little bit maybe more understandable. One of the things we worry about, I think, if you're out there and you're a parent like I am and like Buck is so much guidance is constantly shifting. And if Trump is in office right now, we're very thankful that you're the FDA commissioner. But let's say that Kamala Harris, God forbid, had won, or that she wins in 2029, and we get a brand new team of leadership at many of these agencies. If the culture underneath is rotten, then it becomes very difficult to fix. Can you fix the culture of the FDA? How would you assess, based on your time there so far, the culture actually is?
I think it is a culture that can be influenced. I spend essentially every day on campus at the FDA. It's a beautiful campus. I meet with the reviewers and the scientists and the inspectors and the folks that are working on childhood teen vaping reduction and all of the people. The FDA regulates 20% of the U.S. economy. I'm on the ground, and I think when you're insulated as a leader, you can become a villain. But when you're on the ground and people see that, hey, I'm a cancer surgeon from Johns Hopkins, and I've got scientific credentials. I've published over 300 scientific peer-reviewed studies. All of a sudden now you're a scientific colleague, and you're not some caricature. And so I've been on the ground. The culture at the FDA is strong and getting stronger. The trains are running on time. And so the FDA is going to continue to be strong.
What are some of the areas where you're hoping we could see major breakthroughs? I mean, broadly speaking, right? Not asking about any particular thing that's in trials, but people are hearing about CRISPR technology. Obviously, I brought up AI, and I do know there are some people, Dr. Makary, in the biotechnology space who think that we could be on the precipice of a golden age of discoveries that will just help. You said that they're changing the approach to healthcare overall, right? That's part of the mission. Where are some of the likely discoveries in the near future? I mean, over the next 4 years, do you think that we could see some pretty amazing things happen that either extend lives, save lives, improve lives, thanks to technology and research that's going on right now?
I do. And let me tell you why, Clay, because we're going to try to do everything possible during my time at the FDA to cut the unnecessary delays, the waiting around, the idle time, the time that drug developers and inventors say where they're just doing guesswork because they can't talk to anyone at the FDA to find out what they want in the application. We just announced yesterday that all of our decision letters are going to be public information. So companies are not going to have to do guesswork to figure out how the FDA thinks or what they want in an application. We're increasing communication so a company can call us and ask a question instead of doing guesswork for a year. And we have now a powerful AI tool that we just launched across the FDA, all of the centers, where reviewers have incredible computational power now to organize applications and to summarize these giant, gnarly 100,000-page applications. We're getting away from paper.
Wow.
We're doing a lot to cut the waste.
What should people know, Dr. Makary, and he's the head of the FDA, came on the show for years before he was the head of the FDA. What is the absolute latest on the COVID shot? I know there's been, I think you came on right after the decision was made not to recommend it necessarily for young people. That is very young. Where are we now? I don't even know what booster people are on, but for people out there who have kids, I know there's a lot of concern about the number of shots that they're getting, a lot of examination of what is necessary, what is not. What would you say parents should know about that?
Well, 85% of healthcare workers said no to the last COVID booster last fall, and that should tell you something. Maybe there's a high risk group where it makes sense. We're going to tell folks to talk to their doctor. The government is not your doctor, but are we going to just blindly rubber stamp COVID boosters for young, healthy teenagers every year in perpetuity, such that a 10-year-old girl today is going to get 60 more COVID shots once every year for the rest of her lifetime? No, we're not going to do that without some clinical trial supporting that theory. So we're getting back to gold standard science, and I think people appreciate it. We've outlined our whole framework for COVID vaccines in the New England Journal of Medicine, and we're being very transparent about it. We're not doing deals with companies. We're being very public and transparent about everything. And I think if we can do this everything well, if we can cut the red tape, be transparent, show humility, we can see cures for type 1 diabetes and neurodegenerative disorders, and we can get to a universal flu shot, for example, which is something in the works in early development, so we don't have to guess every year what the strain is going to be.
Dr. Makary, we appreciate the time and we appreciate all the work that you're doing. Have a fantastic weekend, and we'll have you on again soon. Don't hesitate to reach out anytime we can help get the message out that you think is important.
Great. Good to be with you guys. Thanks so much.